Yeah, so welcome to the Property Project podcast. You're here with your main man, Sean.
And your go-to girl, Cindy. I almost forgot
What was the pause for?
The pause was the remembrance.
My gosh.
And I went asleep. Do you know what? No, it wasn't asleep. It was like my brain then went to the time, and I saw the time. Then I was like, oh my gosh, what if I can't see the time? Then I remembered actually I haven't seen the time at all. And then that's what and then that made me forget my lines. And then I was like,
your lines, you know. You need to sort it out.
I know, but I'm here. I'm back. It's your go-to girl, Cindy. There you go.
Oh my God.
Just to repeat that in case you missed it.
Just in case you might be someone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so today, what are we talking about?
Talking about something serious.
Something serious.
Something serious, quite serious.
Quite serious. So yeah, we're talking about racism in property.
Yeah.
Racism in property.
One more time for the people in the back.
Racism in property.
That was some ASMR for you, right?
Yeah. Nah, but on a serious note, so yeah, like I think it's something that's not really spoken about enough.
It's not that it's not really spoken about. It's never. I'm yet to click somewhere apart from Evans.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Apart from that, and in two separate places, he's spoken about obviously his own training and his experience when he first got into property.
Yeah.
But that's the only place I've heard it. I've not heard. No one else is speaking about racism in property.
Yeah. And the reason why we spoke about it is because we had a situations.
Plural.
Yeah. But one in particular that stands out was one that you went through on the phone. Take us through it. In fact, there was even the other one.
So tell me.
2 days ago with a guest.
Oh yeah.
Just a little bit of microaggressions. But anyway, yeah, we'll go with the first story though. Yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah.
Break it down for him.
I'm gonna break it down, but you might have to remind me also. But yeah, we were on viewings in Milton Keynes. I'd found a property. I think that was the day. Were you there?
No. I wasn't there. You was there.
So I'd gone on my own, and I went to view this property, and the property had a lot of potential. It was right near the town centre. Landlord was kind of like, oh my gosh, I haven't really heard this strategy before, really interested. I have a huge portfolio of properties, but I do buy to lets. So I haven't really done anything else that could be, helpful in terms of like just getting the rent basically. So he was really interested in the strategy. And when I tell you, we went on for weeks. I'm saying weeks, discussing like, when can I do this? When can I do that? When can I do this? And like, instead of him to just not respond or to be like, really sorry, I don't want to go with you, he kept saying, oh yeah,
my solicitor.
So he'd asked me to send the management agreement. So sorry, I'm kind of jumping. So at the end of the, I know, it's my brain. So yeah, I went to the viewing. We got on really, really well. He kind of asked about the strategy. He was like, listen, if you do this one really well, then I have other properties. And at this point, I think he was genuine. I think he was like, okay, like this could be really helpful.
Yeah.
Showed me around the house. House had a lot of potential to exchange details. And he was like, yeah, call me. Like I have a few viewings today, but like call me and I'm like interested to see where this can go. So I called him, I caught up with him. It was on a weekend that I viewed. So I called him on a Monday to follow up. And I said, thank you for showing me around. He said, you know what, I'm really interested. I think I'm going to go with you guys. He's like, just give me a couple of days. I need to let the wife know, etc. And obviously I gave the spiel about, well, what would your wife say that would stop you from saying today?
Good old sales tactic.
Yeah, the good,
Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah.
So yeah, he got to that stage with me and I said, you know what I'm going to do is you speak to your wife. I'll give you till about Friday and then we can close that way and decide. And it's weird how energy works. Although I was excited about this property, I don't know if we don't know the area. So I was like, I don't know if I was like, there was nerves. There was nerves.
Yeah.
So he said he was going to get back to me. He got back to me and he was like, yeah, I'm interested. Yeah. I'm going to go with you guys. Like literally said on the phone, I'm going to go with you. Like we're going to take this on. I'm interested. What's next? And I said, yeah, I need to get you the management agreement. Where do I send this? He said, oh yeah, I'm going to send you a text message. So what he would do, his communication was very much so that it was like, I would call him.
He would air you.
He would air me. I would message. He would message back and be like, I'm really sorry, busy day. I'm going to call you a different time. then would either call me or forget to call me. So then I would call back, and then that's how we'd speak. So he wasn't consistent in his communication. But essentially, when I needed the reassurance that he's not ignoring me, I would get that, right? So he was contacting me, and we were going back and forth, and we were talking about the management agreement. Then he was like, "Oh, I'm waiting for my solicitor." Then his solicitor would be off. And then I would and there was just like all these kind of legal excuses.
Yeah.
And then I said to him, a little bit forward, but I said, you know, I know we haven't signed contracts. I wanted to gauge where he was.
Because he was leading us on for a while.
This was like coming up to 4 weeks. It's like we were at 3 weeks and a half or something.
Yeah.
And like, it's a long time in business to be just I'm sorry, this is not a big boy deal. I'm literally renting your house as you would get rent. Anywhere else, do you know what I mean? Like, it's really not that hard to think.
He's telling us about his solicitor and all that, and he didn't actually need to involve his solicitor.
Well, even if he did, that's fine.
But even if he didn't need to, but even if he did, that's fine.
It was taking too long. So he's like, "Oh, my solicitor."
Don't make that be the reason as to why this is dragging on for so long.
Yeah. So
the solicitors do move a bit slow sometimes, but it just didn't make no sense.
Yeah. So then I was waiting for the solicitor to come back to us, I kind of called him, and I got a sense, and I said, you know, like, what's holding you back here? Because I know that the solicitor's looking at the management agreement, but, you know, you've kind of read through it. Is there anything that stands out to you that doesn't sound, you know, appealing to you, so that we can reframe that, we can get the ball rolling, we can start this? I don't want you to be waiting for rent, and I also equally don't want to be waiting to start this contract with you. I want to just get this done. And so he was like, well, you know, like, and he's faffing, and he's not kind of getting what he needs to get out. And I said, no, it's okay. Like, what is it that you need to share? You know, me thinking it's about the management agreement. What is it that you need me to revise? Like, I'm open. And if it works for me and it works for you, like, why wouldn't we do it? And he was like, well, you know, like, I know that you're, have you ever worked with anyone from my background? And I was like, what's your background? He's like, have you worked with any Asians? That's literally how he put it. You worked with any Asians? I was like, and stupid me, like a twat, started giving my resume of the families that I've worked with that are of Asian background, like a dummy.
You're thinking, like, why did I even need
it? It caught me so off guard, because you'd been answering my calls. And
no, because even before that, before you even got to that point, when you wanted to like gauge where he was, you was like, can we start ordering?
No, it wasn't at that point.
Was it not that point?
Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
that's what
can we start ordering? Can we start ordering the stuff?
That was me to gauge where he was.
We obviously wasn't going to do that, but to gauge how serious he was, and he was like, do it, because he was just like, he proper led us on, stood us up. But anyway,
stood us up. On our third date. It wasn't even the first one.
Exactly. I didn't no answer.
So he was like, of course. Obviously, we're not stupid enough to start ordering stuff, but it was for my way of like, our way of understanding where he was at. So after that conversation, he then calls me and he's like hesitating, and then he's asking me if I've worked with Asian families. I start ringing off my resume, like, of course. Like, what do you mean? Of course I have, type thing. So after I came off the phone, I don't know, I was like stood in shock for a little bit, because I was like, this guy just asked me. Oh, that wasn't it. That wasn't just it. After he'd asked me if I'd worked with Asian families, I was like, slinging off the resume. But I was like, but why? Like, I kind of said, that's a bit of an odd question. I've never been asked that before. Like, why did you ask that? He's like, you know, I starting again. It's a black. We've never really actually worked with a black person. I don't give my properties to black people. And I was like, So this is getting awkward. I literally thought I was white. I was so confused. I was like, no, I'm joking. But I was literally like, what are you talking about? Like,
it didn't make it didn't make sense, because he had seen you.
Yeah, he's literally seen you in the flesh.
Was leading you on, like saying, rent the property, whatever. Like, And then for that to be an excuse, and then we said,
we actually messaged the people that I was like,
we gave a reference. Somewhat a point of reference. And
for an estate agent who'd worked with who was Asian. I think we explained. Did we explain to him, or was it?
I think we explained to him,
but not the other person.
Yeah. But he didn't even call them, did he?
No, he didn't call them. He didn't call them at all. No.
He didn't bother to call
He didn't do his references. But at this point, in hindsight, we would never do that again. But it was like, you know, like shock in professionalism. Like it was just the shock that I don't know if you've ever experienced being somewhere where someone catches you off guard, so you overcompensate for that situation because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so caught off guard, I don't even know what to do. And that's just what I did in that situation.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I'm like, how dare you? And then how dare I use somebody else as my tool because I was nervous. Do you know what I mean? Like, so like,
should have just learned to, or have that confidence to just be like, actually, no, that's not right.
Yeah,
and
that's
call
not
it out.
right.
That's not right. You shouldn't be asking that.
Yeah.
Why are you asking that?
Literally, why are you asking? I should have made him uncomfortable rather than allowing him to make me uncomfortable in that situation. And to make him feel comfortable, not because I wanted his property. It didn't come to that. It came to the fact that I was so uncomfortable about the race question. That I was like, wait, what? I was just simply caught off guard, right?
Do you think that was anything to do with the fact that you was a woman?
You know what? It's a good question. I don't know. I think he tolerated me for so long because I was a woman. I think had I been a man, it would have been a straight no off the bat.
Yeah.
But I think he tolerated me for so long because I was a woman.
Yeah. And you was obviously nice and pleasant.
Yeah, I was.
Sometimes
nice.
I'm more straightforward or
direct.
direct. Anything else? But yeah.
So that happened, and then I kind of called him back a few days later, and I was like, "Well, have you gone through the references?" And he's like, "Oh, I haven't had time to call." And he's like, "Oh, give me some time to call." And then something. He was just making up his excuses. So then I messaged one day, and I was like, "You've kind of just like." I didn't think it was appropriate that you asked me that. However, I provided these references to reassure you.
Yeah.
And that I understand like cultural differences are really important. And because I was trying to spin it like maybe it's just that he wanted to know that I understood him as a person.
Yeah.
But so I was kind of like, blah, blah, blah. I kind of sent that message. And then he sent a message basically saying that he was too scared to tell me. Do you remember that? When he sent me the paragraph?
I don't remember.
So he sent me a paragraph on WhatsApp. But the message was basically how I read it was that he was too worried to tell me because of my reaction or what I would say back.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've been so nice to you. What would make you think?
And then he said that was it that he's going to try and do it himself?
Yes. Which was definitely, I'm so sorry. He said, oh yeah, my friend told me about the strategy. So I'm just going to do it myself.
But you would have known.
You would have known. Have you not had your friend for how long?
Yeah.
In property?
Yeah.
And your friends never told you to do this strategy yourself?
So when you was telling us that we can order stuff and that, you're trying to sort it out because the reason why you're in touch with your solicitor is because of us. Your friend wasn't there then. It don't make no sense.
There's all types of questions.
Yeah.
But he was just basically moving like he was too frightened to tell me.
Yeah.
Because of my reaction. Because
obviously you're black and you're aggressive. So.
Yeah, that's what it was giving. And like what people need to understand is black people are allowed to be angry, Like we are actually allowed to be angry if and anger is allowed to be justified in that situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, we ended up being pleasant. I just said, you've kind of wasted my time. And he was trying to reassure me, like, lying again. After you've just told me you're too scared to tell me no, you then said to me, oh yeah, but with my other portfolios, if any of them freeze up, I'll give it to you. Yeah. You're not going to, so why are you telling me?
You didn't do that with this one, so why would I trust that you're going to do it that?
Exactly. And you've already judged me, prejudged me just because I'm black.
Yeah.
You're asking me stupid questions that you wouldn't ask a white person.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does exist basically. Yeah. We've had so many other situations as well.
Situations.
Like microaggressions where I purposely pair you with landlords that I feel like won't judge you.
Yeah.
So I've stopped doing that now.
Yeah.
Now I just pair us based on energy and what that landlord is giving me in terms of energy and who I think would be best suited for that viewing or whatever. Yeah. But
like obviously now, even now, the fact that obviously I'm growing my hair, I feel like this, a lot of the time, I used to think I can't go to viewings like this because they just won't. One, they won't take me seriously, or it's like unpresentable. I always have to, when I go to like the hairdresser or whatever, I'm like, yeah, can you style it? Because obviously when you style it, then it looks professional, and I can, when I speak to someone, it's not going to be a thing. You know what I mean? But then I'm always in between catering to that side, which I think is nonsense, but then also being like, no, do you know what? These people are actually going to either take me on because they see the skills and what I offer, the value that I offer, or they're just going to say no and they're going to miss out on this great opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, sometimes that's why I'm like, when we go to different places, I'm always like, do I dress up and dress like, suited and booted and dress the part, or do I just dress how I actually want to dress and let myself be of value to those who can see the value in me. Do you know what I mean? So that's always something that I'm like fighting with. When I go into estate agents, I feel like straight away, the N for the no is just waiting to be rolled off the end of the tongue. It depends
what that N stands for at this point, because the looks that we be getting from some of them.
Stop it. Some of the places that we've been as well.
I remember that lady that we had at the start, and like she was so nice to me over message and email. I remember at the very start of our journey. Cambridge. Then she saw us face to face, and all of a sudden that was no longer. She knew exactly what we wanted to do. She understood the business model. She said she's taken it on before. Yeah. Their company, their agency has worked with it before. They were absolutely fine with the rent to rent model.
The landlords will be fine because they're abroad.
Yeah, absolutely. She's like, yeah, literally the landlords who are abroad don't care as long as they get the rent.
Yeah.
Then her energy's completely changed.
Yeah.
When I say that, I was confused. Like, maybe this was the woman I hadn't been speaking to on the phone. I think we even went to check in our emails. Was it the same name woman that I was calling the woman that was on the viewing? Because I was like, surely not. She was so fine with me.
Yeah.
She was so fine with me, like, over the phone. And obviously, I have a very, what is it, westernized name? A very English name. It's not English, it's like American, but you know, it's very.
It's easy to.
It's not your typical African name, or it's Cindy. It's a very basic name. It's a very Barbie doll name. It's a very white British, American name.
Yeah.
So I think what she thought was a white girl was going to pull up in her Lambo.
Yeah.
And come and be like, thank you with my.
I'll just take the keys. The money will be in your account.
Literally in 3 working days.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that situation. We turned up in my Corsa.
Yeah.
Like, I'm black.
You're
black. Like, it just wasn't what she was expecting, I guess. But straight away there was a shift. Yeah. And I actually ended up writing an email. I remember, now I've learned not to, but I was in the beginning of my journey, I was like, how flipping dare you? And do you know how hard we work?
Yeah.
Do you know how up and down the country we've been?
Yeah.
Do you know how much my car is damaged? Because I cannot sell that car on because the miles have been miling.
The mileage she has been
hoeing on the streets, this one. On the streets of the motorway. So it's like, when those kind of situations happen, it's like they actually don't know the work behind it.
Yeah.
And so it was very frustrating.
Yeah. So a question then, because I can imagine someone listening to this and thinking, well, that just because these things happen don't mean that, you know, it's racism. It could be something else. What for you clarified to you that these things are racism or microaggressions of racism?
You'll only know if you know. And if you don't know, you don't know. That's I think again, I will never forget in social work when I had a situation in social work where there was a lady being racist towards me. The lady with the baby.
Yeah.
And I think someone in my class kind of said, but how do you know it wasn't her just like being? And I was thinking in my head, you just shut up in your corner. First, you shouldn't be asking me no damn questions. You'd be listening. Open your pen and paper and write it down. Write it down to learn. But I also understand it's a very valid question, and if you don't have these conversations, how will people know? But I do also have the flip side of like, I don't need to educate you, you need to educate yourself. Because
there's a lot of people that kind of misinterpret racism for ignorance. Some people, you can be ignorant without being racist.
Yes,
but those are, do you know what I mean? So those people are the ones that, all right, do you know what? Fair enough, I shouldn't have thought that without asking or without, like, before meeting you. And they're willing to make that change. You know what I mean? But when you're now being racist or prejudiced on purpose, and it's just pouring through their pores, sometimes it's like, sometimes they're just waiting,
and humans know
to say some racial slur sometimes.
And humans know, like, humans can detect when something feels awkward or uncomfortable. Like, it's something we're really good at because we've all experienced that in our home lives at some point. We've all experienced that in childhood, embarrassment, feeling uncomfortable. Like, you know the feeling, and you can detect that when somebody else is feeling that around you. I'm not saying you always can, because some people are very much like better at being covert in their feelings. But a lot of the time you can feel when somebody's uncomfortable. You can feel like something doesn't feel right. I don't connect with this person for whatever reason. And I feel like in those moments, a lot of the time racism happens and the other person chooses to ignore that. And I feel like that in itself is what makes me feel like it's even more racist than it even needed to be. Is that you feel by what you've said, I'm now uncomfortable, but you prioritized your discomfort over mine when I am the victim in that situation. And I think it's fair to ask, well, how do you know? But like, I guess, how do you know when you're upset? How do you know when someone's annoyed you, but and you know you feel like that person should take responsibility. How do you know when you're in an argument that person hasn't acknowledged how, like, there's so many how do you know, but you trust your gut feeling in that moment.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like, that's exactly the same thing with racism. You know, if you know.
And I feel, literally just, you know, when you're in that situation and you know if you, like, because a lot of people who are black, some people haven't been in that situation. We know someone who was in our messages saying they're black, but they personally haven't experienced that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but they can understand, that person can still understand why you experienced what you experienced and understand what that is.
Exactly.
You don't have to honestly go through it, but it's almost like you just know when you know. And
it's interesting that somebody who is clued up will like validate that experience for you and be like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry that happened. Or like sorry. We're just gonna ignore it. We're gonna ignore it, okay? Listen. What have we eaten today? Is that funny? Anyways, I'm trying to laugh at me because my belly's rumbling. Like, that's not normal. It's as if it's not normal.
Oh my days. No, carry on. No, but we haven't had anything to eat today.
Are you gonna justify that?
Yeah, of course.
Your laughter. Anyway. I don't hear from you. So you made me lose my train of thought.
No, someone can justify train of thought. Someone could justify that experience.
Yes, people who've been through it. Now I can't concentrate. People who've been through it can justify the situation and validate it for you. People who haven't, or not even been through it, but who can understand it and respect it. Will validate that experience for you. People who can't understand it. Will not validate. And what I found really interesting is actually the racism video that we put up on social media, where I was talking, a lot of people, one of our highest views, but the same people spoke to me about it. The same people that I expected to pull me up on it and be like, gosh, I'm so sad that happened to you guys. Gosh, I'm so sad that you guys experienced that. And this wasn't just black people. This is people, white people. This was people of different backgrounds. People with different experiences.
No one said anything.
No, the people I expected to say things, or the people who I expected to say things. And I'm not, for clarity, I'm not just saying only black people responded. I'm saying the people of a specific kind of nature. Like there's one person I know who was white, and she's just so peaceful, and I love her. She's so kind and warm, and I hope she knows who I'm talking about. I hope she knows I'm talking about her. She's just so spiritual and just so engaged and just understanding, and she just gets it. But she I don't actually know where she's from. I feel like she said Italian. I don't.
You don't know where she's from.
Yeah, I don't know where she's from, but she's white essentially. And may have other cultural elements that I don't know about, but she's white. And her response was so beautiful because it wasn't patronizing of like, I can't believe people still do it. It was like, gosh, like, I'm really sad for you guys that this is your experience, and I'm, I get, like, it just. I think it was something so simple, but yet so understanding. If I don't get that kind of response, I know where we're at. And I also realize that a lot of people are not going to talk about it because they're too scared.
Because it is something that you don't want that label or to be painted with, oh, you're just using the race card, or oh, you're just using that as the reason, like,
you're not successful, for
your lack of success or anything like that. And it's like, no, we're bringing this up because it's something that actually happens. When we go in, I'm sorry, but sometimes we are starting a little bit further back than the rest of our peers. You know what I mean? And sometimes, again, on so many different levels, we're being judged before even being able to show our talents. And that's what annoys me. I'll always put my hands up if someone came first before me, like without like through their sheer talent or through their seizing the opportunity first or something like that. But if we both go up for the prize, and the prize is given to them just because you're familiar with that person, then like, I don't know, for me, I'm not gonna have that. And I feel like there's a lot of people who won't like validate that's like that situation. Do you know what I mean? They'll kind of just be like, oh, well, it is what it is. You know how things go.
That dry response there. And I think also we've had situations where we know that there was a landlord that we went to view, and actually someone we found out was part of the academy was on that viewing. And the girl, and again, the female is white. She's white British, right? And I remember on that call, when he said to me, oh yeah, we've got somebody else who is a company as well, and then we've got a regular family who want to rent it. So it's between you three, because I liked all you three and I don't know who to choose, basically.
Yeah.
And I said, even if he goes with that other company, at the time we didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
But even if he goes with that other company, I know he gave us a fair chance and race had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually didn't know who the company was at the time. I didn't know what they looked like. I didn't know who they were. But I knew if he chose the other company or the family for whatever reason, it wasn't going to be to do with race.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you get that feeling from certain landlords. Yeah, you just get a feeling that you've given. There was a woman we saw, and to be fair, I prejudged, because I went in there nervous, like, well, you're gonna lie at me because I'm black, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she was absolutely fine, and like she was like, I really commend, although she didn't go with us, I really commend what you guys are doing. We should definitely keep in touch. You know, whilst I'm not comfortable with it now, who knows in the future? And it was genuine. It's like you don't have to force it.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
So yeah, I feel like racism is quite significant in the property realm, but no one talks about it. No one talks about the slight head start that others may have.
Yeah. Because I feel like it's seen as a negative as well.
And no one in property talks about negatives.
Do you know what I mean? Because in property, obviously, you only talk about positive, because positive mindset and stuff like that. And because of that, it kind of forces people to think, well, if I talk about anything negative, I'm kind of going against the culture of property. And I feel like the culture of property is keeping it real.
Yeah,
keeping it real. The things that you go through, share them, because I'm sorry, like if I go into something thinking that it's all gonna be roses, got like, you know, like clear grass. What's the word?
You're definitely asking the wrong person. You know, I have no words.
But basically, like all pink and roses or whatever. I don't think that's all the right
roses.
Thing. But you think it's gonna be ray and sunshine and whatever. Stop it! Stop, please! Just let me finish. Yeah, like but then you go in there and you quickly find out that the grass is not green on that side. You know, this is the reality of it, and you kind of just think to yourself, like, you're not upset about the fact that you're having to go through the reality. You just want to have been told. You know what I mean? I don't think there's a lot of people who shine a light on the realities.
No, they don't. I don't think.
You know what I mean?
And that's why we had
on
to find
all
out
levels.
on our own.
On all levels, yeah.
We found out a lot of stuff on our own, and we were like, actually, we're going to start talking about this, because why are you lying?
Why are you lying? And in fact, because there's been
every day you're killing it, you're smashing it. What am I smashing? Tell me what I'm killing. You tell me, because every day I'm smashing it and I'm killing it. But yesterday I was crying, so you tell me what I'm smashing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's lovely, because it's a beautiful environment to be in to uplift you, but it doesn't also give you the experience of when you aren't in a good place. What you almost feel like, I can't speak up about having. We had a crap month.
Yeah, you can't speak up
dire month.
With the negatives that have happened.
We had a terrible month. Like, I need to emphasize on the terrible.
Listen,
like, we could have called it quits at this point. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was a terrible month in terms of, you know, the essays and like the winter months, and it was just really horrible.
Wasn't
and it was
nice.
like, where do you even speak about this? Is there a group chat about like things that happen that
just consoling people that are going through it right now?
Literally, no one talks about getting therapy. No one ever talks about the things you need to continue to push on in property. It's just like, you got to have the mindset. You got to be strong. You got to do this. It's like, I get that, but when I'm crying at home, you're not aware when you're telling me the next day that I'm killing it. Yeah,
exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just like, people need to be mindful that, yes, it's about positivity and being strong-minded and having a positive mindset and attitude. But at the same time, there's the real side of it, that people do go through things like racism. People do go through things like, you know, discrimination against disability. And you know, there's so many things, prejudice, there's so much that people battle in the day-to-day of property. Yeah. And
there's nowhere that you can go and just get someone or be in around a group of people that are like, it's actually okay. Like,
and they validate that.
Yeah, they validate that. Like, do you know what I mean? And sometimes it's like not being told that you're crazy. Like, you did experience that, even if it's like not painted on the wall and it's not clear, but you did experience that. And even if you just feel like you experienced that, it's actually okay.
It's okay.
Because do you know what I mean? Like, just.
And guess what, guys? You have a space to talk about it now with us.
Yeah, man.
So nice.
Yeah. I mean, again, we've always kind of prided ourselves on trying to be.
Prided a word.
I don't care if it's a word or not. Like, you know what I meant.
Oh.
We have a lot of pride on.
We're actually hangry.
Yeah. I think that's where it is, you know.
It is.
I think that's where it is because we have to go and get some food after this and some drink. But
I'm doing dry.
Oh yeah, you are, innit? Yeah,
I
was, but I've failed on about 3 occasions now.
Yeah, I didn't fully do dry Jan. I think I started like
probably a weekend.
Yeah,
probably a weekend.
Yeah, because of Thingy's birthday. Yeah.
But
I've been till the first week of Feb. Till my birthday, which is on the 9th of Feb. So if you want to send me any gifts, like I definitely will receive those. Thank you.
Anyway, but we got to the end of that episode anyway. Again, in the comments, DM us. Let us know any of the microaggressions that you faced.
Yeah.
Any stories, like whether they, you just feel that they happened or like they definitely happened, just let us know. It's always a space to just speak because even if we haven't experienced it ourselves, we'll always, someone else has, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And even from the other perspectives, there have been times where you feel like maybe you've said something or you've done something that could have rubbed someone up the wrong way or been perceived the wrong way, and how to go about that or how to educate yourself about racism in property and how it affects others.
Yeah.
So we are more than happy to talk to anybody who's interested. But thank you for joining us again today.
Yeah. And catch you in a bit, innit?
Catch you in a bit. See you next time.
Peace.